So what is forum theatre? Forum theatre is a style of theatre that encourages the audience to interact with the narrative by exploring different options for dealing with problems or issues. It's also called theatre of the oppressed, as the narrative is centred around socially excluded and disempowered people or groups.
The goal of today's performance was basically to show some of the unsafe situations that young people in Mackay find themselves in.
I didn't invent forum theatre. Someone called Augusto Boal, who's a Brazilian theatre practitioner, invented this, and other groups around the world use it for discussion of social issues and working with marginalised groups.
Exploring different scenarios that young people go through every day, and just trying to figure out different scenarios which people can take on board and use in life situations. We made the whole play from scratch.
Creating improvisations about particular issues and then meshing those together into an overall play. So we had lots of those brainstorming sessions, meeting weekly on a Thursday.
And see if we can find ways as like a community to try and fix these or help people in these situations.
To try and get adults and older people thinking about situations that young people get into and how they could maybe thinking it from their perspective of the way that they think it should go.
And I thought that the audience participated a lot as well.
They did.
We had both good and bad ideas, but it worked well.
As you do in your life, you have good and bad ideas, and they were played out, and it was a really good experience to be able to think about it, have an idea, see it played out and see how it worked. If only we could do that with everything.
And I think when they were came up and something didn't work, that they were like, this is what they should do, and then it kind of didn't work out in the way that they thought. I think that was a really good reflection piece for them to be like, okay, yeah, it isn't always that easy, or it isn't, that does have layers, and it can be complex for young people to navigate.
And say it's not that easy to just say no to drugs, or it's not that easy to just not go to a party. There's more to it than that.
It was very useful when there were a couple ideas when brought up on stage it didn't work out the way that they did in theory, and it was really good to show that not every idea is going to work properly.
I think those improvisations really helped bring the soul of the play out, showed that the characters were nuanced and layered, and that there wasn't just say no. There was a lot more nuance to the story.
It was nice to see that blend of adult and youth, I guess.
It was
to kind of
fantastic.
be this is an idea we know will work, and then they were like, no. And you're like, oh, I understand where they're coming from now.
Yeah.
So it gives that perspective.
Yes, definitely.
The relationships that we were able to build with the young people through the writing of this process, and then also the honest conversations that they had, because they knew the characters so well, they weren't even necessarily talking about themselves. They were talking about characters so they could push back.
It was amazing. Even if they weren't getting up to act, they were participating in the discussion, offering different solutions and ideas, and plenty of people got up on stage as well, and it achieved exactly what we wanted.
A big part of it was just letting people know that there might be an interactive part, and that's very easy for people to feel a little bit challenged by, but it was really lucky that we had a good audience that was able to kind of put in their 2 cents worth and actually make some changes. But yeah, I think that's the impactful part, because you can't just learn the lines, you have to then know your character so well that when someone jumps up on stage, you know what the answers are going to be.
I think one of the great parts about today's session was that it was a really diverse room of people, so it allowed different experiences and perspectives and ages to actually have these open conversations in a really supported way.
I feel like this was a really good project to
start conversations and whatnot.
Yeah.
You could think how a young person would think about those situations and how they could get out of a situation, and so instead of just saying to the kids maybe do this or do that, or
Young people are awesome. I feel really privileged that I get to work with such young people, and that they gave me their time and energy and shared their experiences with us.
I think this project is something that needs to happen more often. I think this is a really, really cool thing to do. And it does dive a little bit further than those surveys and what they were saying at the beginning, that the youth want more than that. And I think this is an awesome way to do that.
And I think there are a lot more topics that could be discussed.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great way, a great format to do it in.
these guys are my friends now. I didn't know any of them beforehand. And just getting to interact with them and make this play with them. It's really bonding, and I really appreciate this opportunity.